Hi guys, welcome to
the Girls Room.
It was a little off key, but it's okay. We'll get better at it. We'll get better at it. We're a podcast, brand spanking new. We have a motley crew of ladies who are very intelligent and very well-rounded in their communities, and we have all come together to put together a awesome podcast about discourse and our opinions, because it's our show and not yours.
Oh my God, Cori! I love that. That's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our show.
Every first episode is always going to be you know?
That's
period.
It's the girls' room. That's what the girls' room is.
It's the girls' room. Like,
ladies,
it's not
and
your room.
Dams.
And also, just to add in, anybody that can piss in a girls' room can be on the girls' room.
Can sit with us. They can sit with us.
And should go to the girls' room because the men's room is dirty.
Men's room is fucking gross.
It's dirty and it's always wet. The floor is wet.
Ew. Hate it. We never want to be in the men's room. You can be in the men's room.
Only when the line's shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so serious.
That's true. I do whatever. Nobody kicks me out, so I don't care.
I know you are.
Oh my God.
We're cute. Okay.
Anyway.
I recently saw a TikTok that was talking about like, do we have too many boundaries these days? Is it a boundary to take people to the freaking airport? What defines even friendship these days? If you can't do favors for each other, is it uncomfortable to do favors for each other?
No, I think it depends. I think it is important to have boundaries, but I also feel like, right, sometimes, what is the saying? You can't pour into someone else's cup if your cup is empty.
Sure.
So if if you've been going through it for a week, a month, whatever it is, you could be having an episode and right? People have a lot of shit that a lot of us don't know about behind closed doors. And I think sometimes that person, and if that's you, then you have to be the person to say no, even in situations where, for me sometimes, I always say, I used to be a yes woman all the time. So I hate disappointing people, and also I would want someone to show up for me. So that's how I think. So that's how I tend to think of these situations. And in a situation where, a friend needs a ride to the airport or a pickup from the airport and I'm really tired, if I feel you know what, they've come through for me a good amount, I'll probably be you know what, yeah, I'll catch up on sleep later, if I can do, I can do that. I don't have to be up early in the morning or whatever it is.
Well, have any of you had this kind of problem with other people? I don't know, just being yeah.
I feel like I've met some people that have taken advantage of that, where it's also growing up, I never knew that having a boundary was a thing. And you just always say yes to things.
Yes.
And it's when you're growing up, it's oh, I'm so tired, but yeah, I'll go to your birthday party. Or, oh yeah, I'll do that for sure. But then having to say no to someone was new. It was introduced to me in college. And it was just because a girl was oh, I don't feel like it tonight. I'm not in the headspace to go out, even though it was a plan already made. And I'm oh, okay. And I thought that was so weird to me. I was
but then they do it every single time,
yes,
and they're
exactly.
Yeah, I still don't feel like it, and I'm actually in the middle of this Netflix show that's super good, and I just can't leave my bed, girl.
And you're but it's my birthday.
Yeah, but it's my birthday.
It's the season finale.
I'm sorry, but I come first before your freaking birthday.
I do have thoughts.
Bitch, what? Ooh, thoughts.
Give
it, girl. Give it, girl. Dish it, girl.
I will say that, especially now, we're in a culture that operates in extremes. So,
True.
I'm personally a person who shows up for people, especially when asked. But I also have to work so hard to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Of course.
So for me, I have a guilt when I have to say no, and I definitely love that you brought that up, because I think that's you're you do what I told you because I told you, and that's it, and you do it because you're supposed to. But as an adult, you have to actually think about yourself.
No, and that's what I was gonna say. If you sometimes it is you can make the sacrifice, but if you're in a place where you know what, I really just don't. Sometimes you get that gut feeling, right? And sometimes it is guilt. but like it's not really guilt. It's your gut being like, no, like you shouldn't do this. You just don't have a real reason to necessarily, like, you know, like there's nothing actually physically preventing you from doing the thing. So like, I feel like sometimes, because I definitely feel guilty all the time, which is why in the past I have been a yes woman, but sometimes you do have to say no out of like, or like I've done these tests with myself where I've been like, you know what, let me just, like I really want to say no, but I feel so bad, and like I do get guilted into it, so I end up showing up. I end up being so pissed every single time. And honestly, in college, that's when it was probably my second semester of my sophomore year when I just quickly was like, I'm kind of over the like scene of like, I would just force myself to go out, and I'm like, honestly, even when, on nights when people would come back and be like, I had the best time and blah, 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 like on the nights when I didn't want to go out, if I didn't go out, I didn't feel like, oh, like I missed out. Because I had already done practice of, you know what, okay, like everyone's begging me to go out, or there's a, like, you know, it seems like it's gonna, like maybe it'll be different this time. I'm like putting energy into trying to not look like I'm having a miserable time. And that is just not, like something always would end up happening in the night where I'm like, why the fuck did I go out? You know, like where I'm just like, why did I not just listen to my first instinct? And I remember there was one time where like, I really did not want to go out, and we were getting into the cab, and it literally just started to snow a little bit. And I'm like someone who, I'm not a fan of the cold. And literally, like, I'm not kidding, I was stepping into the cab, and the second that it started to snow, I said, actually, I changed my mind. They all thought I was joking. And they're like,
fully ready.
Yes, that's so real of you to fucking do that.
I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't even try to explain it in the time, because they were like just ready to go. We had to get to a pregame and whatever, and like, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going.
Honestly, that's
like,
real as fuck.
I respect you so much for that. And you just went back in the house.
And then from then on, I was like, I'm just gonna, if I want to go out, I'll go out, and if I don't, I won't.
Yeah, one drop of snow.
Boom, bro.
Actually, yeah, I know, and it feels like, I'm like, okay, like, can I even connect to that? And it's like, okay, well, honestly, most of the time that I even, like, went out, I would say, I was just like so sloshed by the end of the night that it's like I didn't even remember the night. Like I couldn't even remember if I even liked it or didn't like it. I do remember one bitch getting punched in the face and me being like glad that wasn't me, because I don't snort cocaine, but other people do.
Cut the cameras.
So for some people that's a bad night. For me, it's like, okay, neutral, just another night
like
in Orlando.
Chaotic neutral Wednesday.
Cocaine chaotic neutral. Yeah?
No, that can't be a thing.
No, disagree.
Those are all contradicting words.
Hard disagree.
Sorry, my bad.
Hot take.
Chaotic.
But anyway, it's like, okay, so then what lengths will you go to protect your peace? Like like a drop of snow is obviously not your peace, which is slight as fuck.
And the thing is, like, it wasn't even about that so much as like, I already knew I wasn't feeling it, and the snow just ended up being this other thing of like, yeah, like
and it's snowing.
Yeah,
and
I'm good. Like I'm really actually
home.
extra good. Like, I had a single at the time too. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm fine. I was a heavy. I mean, I still smoke, obviously, but back then I had a single. I probably had like 4 bongs in my room at the time. Like I was like, this is the way I'll spend my night.
Yeah,
like
it's bedtime actually. Now that I think about it.
And I had one of those what's it called, the like hoverboard things. I was nice on that shit, honestly.
Oh, let's go. Like the little, they
just
can
around your house.
You're set.
And then they like banned them anywhere. But
they're banned.
So here's a question for the panel. All right,
Please ask.
So, who here, and be fucking honest, okay? Don't say stuff just because, like, you know, someone else is like, oh, well, you know, it's the right thing to say. No, don't think about the right thing to say or the right thing to do. I need you guys to be honest, okay?
Okay.
If a friend asked you to take them to the airport, you had at least 24 hours of notice, and you were free, and you had a car, and you have all of the, you know, necessary things to do it, would you drive your friend to the airport?
Yes.
What time is it, and which airport?
See, and that's the shit I'm talking about. The conditions.
You should be honest.
No, well, yeah, but that's the honest. So for you, it's like conditional.
That's a good answer.
And is it going to be is it thunderstorming? Is it snowing? Is it, you know, like?
Okay.
Is it late at night?
I would do it. I would just do it.
And that's just because for me, I have like an
well.
eyesight thing too. Like at night, like it's just more difficult for me to see. So like, but like airport-wise, like Newark, like I'm sorry, respectfully, Jersey.
Newark's not that bad.
Whoever designed Jersey, I'm sorry.
It's 40 minutes for us.
Was on Quaaludes and drunk and high and like honestly like tripping acid or something because nothing in Jersey makes sense to me.
Westchester Airport, we got you.
I'm like
Newark.
I love
Newark is literally like anytime my sister needed a ride recently actually to Newark, and I honestly was like gutted when she asked me because I really like.
Listen.
Okay, listen, Linda, listen. Okay, first of all, I had to. First, she was like, "Oh, my friend's dad could potentially get us, like, so just like let me know."
Okay.
I was like,
okay, fair.
I was like, okay. I said I don't want to say no, but I said I'm not saying yes either.
For your sister.
Because when she said Newark, I was like, ooh, like I swear something like my soul just. Anyway, I was like, ask her dad, let me know, like ASAP though. I was like, I need a good amount of heads up before because I think her flight was coming in like. Kind of late, like 11 or something like that. And I was like, I don't want to last minute figure out that you need a ride and I'm rushing to Newark, which is literally like,
but it's not that bad of a drive.
But it's at least 50 minutes.
No, it's not. From you? Really?
Yeah. And also, like, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, maybe because you're on the other side of the bridge, it does add a couple.
Yeah. Like,
extra 20 or so.
I don't know why, but Newark, like, every time I go to Newark, it's like, it's not the even getting into Jersey part. It's like the actual, like, getting to Newark airport itself. I'm like, why do I feel like do you know that movie?
It is a little confusing.
Fuck, what's the movie with, I literally just rewatched it too.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
No, it's like a movie where this couple is driving around in a neighborhood and all the houses are like the same. And fuck, I just, Vivarium or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just felt like
Edward
it feels like, no.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But it just is, I don't know, it's just like, it feels like a never-ending loop to get to.
Pleasantville?
No, I have to look it up now because it's going to fucking bother me.
Okay. Well,
I just
I like Jersey. We've got nice beaches. Get your shit together, Governor Murphy.
Okay, yes, Vivarium.
I never would have got that.
Wait, cut that out.
I did say that.
I'm not calling out the government.
It's honestly a really bizarre movie. I recommend because I just watched it for the second time and I completely the first time I thought the first time I was like I feel like I kind of remember it being kind of boring, and then the second time I watched it I was like I feel like I remember it being boring, and it wasn't at all. Like I was like what the fuck? I was like this shit is so bizarre. It was actually just chaotic, but anyway, that was just like a complete tangent. But
I love that.
You watched Vivarium?
No, I was just listening.
Your tangent.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Would you bring someone to the airport?
But yeah,
yes.
Point.
Also, I don't drive. Like,
I'm saying if all the stars were aligned, you had everything. You have all
that brings a different perspective into things because she doesn't drive.
I grew up in
But if you did drive.
So
what would you do?
I would say yes, though.
Cori, what's your response? Are you going to drive?
Yes. And
like regardless, like whatever time.
I have and I do and I will.
That's what I said.
No, and
I want them to do it for me.
And I'm not saying that out of like moral, ethical superiority. I'm not saying it out of that, but it's something I've always done because I always need some fucking rides to some shit.
No, that's totally fair. But it also, right, like some
I guess
people
it's like I always return. I could always return the favor. Or I would always need the favor returned.
Right.
So I guess like
no, that's fair. I mean, but that's assuming that the person, right, who's asking deserves, right, like.
Well, not deserves, but if
not
it's
even
like
deserves, but like
if it's a fair trade, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I have people who I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Because like now things are so expensive.
Me certain things like you shouldn't even act, like
now things are so expensive. Like I know like some people like they'll ask for or
gas
like sometimes I'll even ask for like some like toll money or something.
That's fair.
Like especially if I'm bringing someone like JFK or LaGuardia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's like so fucking hard to like get over there.
But see, for me, LaGuardia and JFK is 25-30 minutes, so that's like an easy like I would go to get someone last minute. If they were like, I'm there, I'm waiting at baggage claim for my bag, like I'll leave right now.
Yeah.
Like at least if I can, and I have a car,
Sure.
But Newark.
I don't know. Newark's the easiest for me. It's a city.
It must be because of like the path
it must be
take.
the bridge. Yeah, it must be like where we are geographically. Because like from us, like it's like tops like 20-30 minutes between me and you where we live. But like anywhere outside of it is like around the world in different ways.
Yeah. No,
so that like totally makes sense. But like, so moving on to the next part of this. So do you think that like there's a bit of like an antisocial friend crisis? Because I find like a lot of people like aren't like going out of their way to like hang out with their friends as much, or like
people don't show up anymore.
Yeah, people don't show up anymore.
Or
they don't
stories of that.
Yeah, like fuck it. Like even if you're trying to date, like dates don't want to show up anymore, and it's like even if it's a hookup, sometimes it's too much of a hassle to hook up with somebody. Like you can't even get like a good hookup partner. It's crazy.
I would say that there are people like you who want to show up for each other.
Yeah.
And I think we're finding each other a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's important. True. And just before we were even filming, just talking about like things you're interested in and what you're pursuing in your life, I'm like, yeah, I'd totally pull up to something like that. Or like, you know, so you just need to find more people like you. And I think that you're all very, very gorgeous, iconic. Yeah. So you deserve that community, right? But like also, it's been cold. And even though I like to think that even when it's cold, we can show up for each other, it's harder.
It's hard.
Like it's harder to get out of the house.
And that's
like
what I say,
everything is harder.
It depends.
So like I also tend to try and appreciate like the seasons that I have and the seasons that my friends go through.
Right.
So
we'll
be back together, especially in the summer. Like we're gonna just like go swimming.
I think I'm just on a great set of vitamins because I was fucking fine this winter, low key. So
I mentally was okay, but it was still like a really hard winter for me. Like just like a lot of work and like there was no slowing down, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a lot, you know. So if you're going through a lot and then they're going through a lot, and we need to communicate with each other as well. But you know, it's hard to be a person. So
it could also be a personal thing, like look, like I feel like I've been like kind of like on this like silver lining like journey. I feel like if things are all crashing down and stuff, like how can we find the silver lining of like this fucking disaster? Because like every day there's like another fucking disaster. Like I literally almost like was in tears because my parents like wanted to like go on an airplane to go to Florida.
I'm so stressed about planes
right now. And I was like scared.
Oh my God,
I was so stressed. Yeah. I was so stressed. I was like, please, Daddy, please don't go on that plane. Please.
Get a car or a boat or a train or a bus. I don't want to be on a plane right now. No. Oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
I'm not going on I'm not going on a plane, girl. Like no.
Like when I landed from Cali,
I'm scared.
In February or whatever, when I came back from my trip, like that was the first time I've been on a flight in a long time where everyone was like hard clapping when we landed.
They were like,
yeah! Because when I tell you, they said we were descending for like 55 minutes. Like to the point where I kept like I was starting to really look at the where it tells you like how long you're gonna land or whatever.
Yeah.
Like and then I saw the time going up, and when I looked out the window, I couldn't see anything. So, but also the plane I was on a window and like I was right by the wing.
Like I'm scared.
And I just at some point
they
was like,
the lights
can
off.
they just not? Usually they say if the tarmac is like not ready, they'll be like, they're not ready. So like,
of course,
give us a minute. They literally kept being like, okay, we're gonna continue our descent now, and I'm like,
we're not descending now.
Like, and my ears are super sensitive, so they're popping, and it's like super
same.
uncomfortable when it like doesn't. Like I either need it to keep going or just like stop. But
let's also get back on topic. So like. Do you find that like you guys have been like engaging in more antisocial behavior as like a an effect of like other people kind of like being a little more antisocial and like not wanting to be around like other people as much, and people are also like low on cash, so no one wants to go to the bars and shit too. So
that's why like everything is really, it just depends, because also I haven't seen
a
lot of people. Because I haven't seen people as frequently as I did in college and high school and whatever, like, it's...
But I feel like it still was never really that bad. Like, people would go to, like, work and then they'd, like, go to, like, happy hours after work.
For sure,
or, like, you know, like when my
COVID
mom...
definitely changed a lot of shit.
Like, when my mom was teaching, like, they had happy hours, like fucking almost every day of the week, like and like in like cute little happy hours at like these like local restaurants and stuff. Like I don't know if you knew like in Nyack, like Black Bear Saloon. Million years ago, like they used to have like these like teacher nights, and they advertise it with like these like stripper teacher ladies on the flyers. Like it was sleazy looking. It was so funny. But yeah, like PC culture would never these days. But
yeah, that is not cunt.
Yeah, I think
no, it was cunt, but it wasn't gay, so it wasn't cunt.
It was medium cunt.
It would only be cunt if it was gay. But then again, people were just in the closet. It was that don't ask, don't tell era.
I know all about that.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It'd be like that.
It'd be like that.
But it was a mad cute time when like people were like, they were professionals. They could go out to bars. They can have happy hours. It was cute. But and I kind of like asked my mom recently about it. I was like, why don't these teachers like do this stuff anymore like other people? She's like, well, I think it's because like people like whip out their phones when they see like, you know, people of like authority in public, and they go like, oh, look how sloshed my teacher got at the Black Bear fucking Saloon, like, you know. So it's just like it's like an age of like an overwhelming access to being able to blackmail people for no fucking reason.
It's the cancel culture.
For no reason.
You just want to cancel anyone and everything and everybody.
But not just that, like it has real repercussions for these like professional people.
For sure.
You know, of all areas. So like people are like hiding inside their houses so they don't get like doxxed for having a shot of mezcal at the bar.
I mean, people are also losing jobs over, you know, like TikTok accounts and certain, you know, you see that happening all the time. It's like, I think as an ambivert, I'm someone who I just know when I'm in a season of like, I just trust that timing works itself out in that my friends start to come around when I'm like also at a time of like, like perfect. Like,
also
I'm also ready to be out and about. And then like I'm in hermit mode, and typically during that time, most of my friends are also in hermit mode. And so like I might FaceTime with a few people here and there and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's like, I try to be very present because like everything is on the phone, and I'm overstimulated when I see my phone all the time, all the apps, all that shit. So I am someone who like hand takes notes and things like that. But sometimes, like sometimes I find that I miss things. So like I'll miss a birthday or something because I chose to ignore my phone the whole day, because for me, like, and I remember the girl in the TikTok was talking about how like, you know, not answering your phones or not answering your friends is not like protecting your peace, but sometimes it's like, sometimes it's not even about the friend, so like it just is that the timing was bad. It's like I've just found myself in situations where things have happened that where like I'm really not in a place to, I'm like I can't move, like honestly, like, and sometimes that's because I get like, when I get like a pinched nerve in my neck or you know, whatever, things come up.
I mean things happen.
So like you have to, like,
but like there was also like something that she mentioned was like I wrote it here, avoiding suffering. So like people will actively not go out because they don't want to have to feel annoyed by somebody or be in a situation where somebody upsets them by accident.
I think people need to look at the bigger picture of the thing. You know, it's like, are you gonna like not show up to like a wedding or some shit because you're afraid that your ex-boyfriend of like a million years ago is gonna pull up with a date or some shit, you know, like, or are you gonna pull up for your friend? You know, like which one is more important? Like people actively like withdraw from life. Yeah, like, no, and there's to avoid, you know, a slightly bad, uncomfortable situation. Yeah. Any bad feeling at all. No, for sure.
Love is really inconvenient. And if you want to love yourself and love other people, you have to be okay with being inconvenienced, having embarrassing moments, like being a human being. I think we're all like just scared of that, I think.
It is very scary. Like,
and committing to something, like being like, hey, I really care about you as a person. So even if I'm going through my season and you're going through yours, you can still call me. Like, but yes, you know what I mean?
Yes, and that's also why I say like it depends on the person and the situation and stuff like that, because sometimes, right, like sometimes the friend who hits you up who you haven't heard from in 6 or 7 months, like whatever they've said is not you're not ready to, you do want to respond, you plan to respond, but at the time of which they've sent it, you're not in a space to respond. And now, for me, the way I'm thinking is like, I don't want to confuse the person by engaging now and then dropping off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm engaging the first time, but I don't really have the time to actually have a conversation or really let the conversation go anywhere. So I'd rather not engage until I can actually genuinely like involve myself in the conversation.
I also say that like desperation is the best motivation. In my opinion,
like
if you're questioning like why somebody isn't following their dreams or like, you know, taking the steps because of like something is so hard, like talking to people or keeping up with like being friends with somebody, you know, like they're obviously not desperate enough for a certain level of success that takes. Because honestly, for anybody to be successul in anything,
you have to want it bad enough.
You have to want it bad enough. You have to also like you have to have social capita. I mean, that's something that I really don't understand is all these people like want success, they want a lot of money, they want millions and stuff, but they're not willing to increase their social capita or even just like put a little bit more effort into the social capita that they have to, you know, kind of nourish those relationships to build something. And
that's probably why they won't get where they want, because they're not going to do those things, right? Like that is the difference between the people who do get there and the people who don't. It's like people who just like they say they want to do it but like aren't willing to take a step out of their comfort zone for 5 minutes.
Right. But then there's also the people who do it and then they sabotage it.
That too, and I think also people are scared of their own success.
They reach a level of like a threshold, so to say, of like annoyance, and then they're like, okay, well, I've reached my threshold of annoyance, and now I have to like withdraw and I have to like recharge, but this recharging process is going to take 6 months, and then I'm going to be broke by the end of these 6 months. Because I've recharged. And it's like, I don't know. Is that like maybe it's a maturity thing?
No,
like, because I see some old people do that, but like at the same time, like I don't know. Maybe we're just a shit generation. Maybe we just suck. Do we suck?
No, we don't.
Chat.
Suck.
Do we suck? Be honest. No, don't be honest.
Like I feel like I've crashed out about this. Like
I'm like, no, we're actually the best. Like actually, I feel like our generation is...
We're the crash out generation.
No, I feel like debatable. Yes and no. Crash out to me is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
Because I'm a crier.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who like if I don't throw a fit, like y'all should be scared at some point. You know, like if I haven't thrown a fit in like 2 months, like it's coming.
Say something.
It's coming.
It's a coming.
A storm is coming. She's gonna be a big one.
Uh-oh.
Did any of you see the Gabby Petito docuseries?
I did not see the Gabby Petito docuseries, but I do know of the
story.
The story.
Yes, it was a huge thing during 2021, 2022. Long Island girl who went missing, who's an influencer. Was she like that big of an influencer?
That was her first video.
Yeah, that was her first and last video. On YouTube. Right.
Yeah.
So like they've used the word influencer, but I guess influencer really just means like if you're, I think, right, like sharing the experience of your life. If you're like a vlogger, you're considered an influencer to most people.
I think she was like a vlogger, and it was like
the van life thing.
Yeah, people knew of her and her partner.
Right, and they portrayed this like perfect ish
and then she went missing, and then people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then they found her dead, and
then they found the boy dead.
Yes, so. And I won't say my theory.
Not yet.
Oh no,
I'm not sharing that.
Conspiracy.
Yeah. No, we're not getting.
We're not going conspiracy.
Not yet. Yeah, they're not ready for me.
I'm ready for you. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I'm scared, honestly.
If you say anything.
Not scared.
But yeah, I was really triggered after watching it because it was 3 episodes. They were like 45 minutes each, and one, I think the story is important to be told just in general of like this, right, they portrayed this perfect couple and then she ends up dead by her lover. But this is also my thing was I'm kind of disturbed at the fact that it's categorized like American murder, right? Like, is this this is like a normal thing now. American murder is like, right, like the lover did it. The lover did it. Like that's what the perfect couple has the skeletons in the closet, and usually it ends up being one of them.
They're trying to revive the 70s and 80s like so bad, and it's just like, shut up. Are you kidding me?
It's a lot.
Like, we hate it. We hate it. Stop it.
It's there was a huge thing about white women syndrome that they talked about, being that her case got so much national attention, and it was like, okay, white woman syndrome being this, basically people are questioning, would people have cared as much if she were a person of color, if she were not this, right, like this perfect victim. Also, there was a question of, did the cops fail her because should they have seen signs in the footage that they showed of her being pulled over with her boyfriend or her fiance? You know, she's clearly in distress. She's basically having a panic attack. Yeah. And so that part, I guess for me, that was like very triggering, because that reminded me of like how I've been in a relation, like how someone has made me before. And right, like the police pulled them over because they got a call that a man is slapping his girlfriend, the girl in the front seat, and that in itself is like disturbing. And you know, she has cuts on her face or scratches, and he does too, but he's clearly fine. He's like cracking jokes a little bit with the officers. And the crazy part to me was also that when they separated them, because they separated them for the night, that was like what their solution was to digress the situation. They said, okay, we're gonna leave you in the van and we're gonna put him in a hotel. And like, it was a motel, whatever. But
why
like,
would they not both be put in a hotel?
Or why would
for
abused
she, women.
Yeah, like why would they leave her by herself, vulnerable, in a fucking van where, right, like they're going across the country, so she's not in a place where they know. They're like literally in the desert land, it looks like. Right. And they put him in a cozy bed, like, you know, they're telling her, oh, you can go to this spot to, you know, get a shower and all this shit. Like, put her in a fucking hotel so you can have some watch over her. Because I think, didn't they say that they ended up like meeting, they didn't actually stay separated the whole night. They like,
do you think that it was like there was like an operation underneath it? Like
in what way?
That's almost what it sounds like. Because like, why would they put him in a hotel and her not in a hotel? Well, I guess like somebody has to stay with the van, because like
I know the van was registered under her name.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Out in the
it was
West,
that the van was registered in her name. That makes sense. That's probably why they did that then. But then also the police officer was like, "Oh, my wife, whenever she gets like this, she just needs a shower. You'll be fine." To the guy, you can separate, and he's just very empathetic towards the man. And I'm like that's not the situation at all
right now.
At all. And it was just like she's 22, like she's a child. Like
so
when when you pass like 25, you're like, you know, at 22, you're a child. You see how much growth you have in your 20s. And when you, like, at 28, I'm like, at 22, I was a baby. Like, I was so naive and just, like, especially compared to now. But, like, it's...
The things I can emotionally handle now at 29 are definitely not the same things that I could emotionally handle at 22. And 22, I was like... I don't even know where my brain was, really.
It's so disturbing that they just, like, didn't... at least even, I don't know, have someone keep watch on them, or, and then I also was like, where were the parents? Because it took the parents 2 weeks basically before they decided to put in to really start to freak out, and the fact that his parents weren't talking to her, like, that was also just a huge, like,
it's kind
what
of
the
sketchy,
fuck? Like,
very sketchy red flag.
It was super sketchy, and I just feel like in that context, like, she didn't get justice because her killer also ended up dead, which was probably honestly like the best thing that could have happened for him, because realistically he was going to get harassed his whole life anyway.
But then it's like, okay, but
then like also we never know the truth about most shit.
The circumstances.
Well, the thing is, it's like, okay, but like, was he actually the killer then? Did they both have the same killer?
He was the killer.
He was the killer for her, but and they said he died by suicide, but I have
his story was that
that's what I
she
said.
Tripped. And was like half alive, half dead.
Tripped.
Yeah, so he put her out of her misery.
What do you?
But the coroner report said that they found she died of strangulation and also had blunt force trauma to her head. So that didn't add up. Then the suicide note that he wrote also didn't add up because it said I couldn't live without this human. So I'm like taking my life immediately to be with her, whatever.
That's a setup.
Meanwhile, he didn't take his life immediately. He went home. He was home, and then his family went on some camping trip. And then they came back, and then it was like, oh, Brian's missing, and I'm like,
oh my God.
Oh, and then right when they have 20,000 square feet that they're searching, they're using horses, dogs, helicopters, a whole thing, and they can't find Brian's body or him anywhere. They speculate that he's like on the run, whatever. Then the day that the national park that they had closed down reopens up, they know that his family was going to go and search for him to see if he was camping out. Okay. Within 45 minutes, they find his body. Like, you're going to tell me that with a gunshot went to the head. That's the easy... His family killed him.
His family killed... Yeah.
I was like, that's the easy out.
No
that was the easiest,
way.
Yes, because that's the easiest out. Why?
That makes sense to me.
Why would you not talk to the... They also never, at the end of the docuseries, they say that the family never gave a statement. So they just were denied.
They offed him. They were like, we don't want to deal with this shit, so goodbye.
Quite literally. Like, and I said, I was like, if you saw their house, they would not have had money for the type of attorney that they would have needed to get him out. Like, there was no way. Like, all the signs were there. Like, you couldn't deny that he was the killer, you know?
Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
And it's like...
Case closed.
And then also in the suicide note, which was typed, which like also they're in a van, so where the fuck are you getting typed letters from? But anyway, like, all right. It said something like, don't blame my parents, like something like that. Like,
oh my God,
that was also like.
Don't blame my parents. The parents only wrote it for him.
It's like the Spider-Man.
Lord.
Well, listen,
I guess if no one cares,
this is all for entertainment purposes.
That is so fucking
like, you only get in trouble if people care, right?
That is so.
Welcome to the American justice system. No one gives a fuck.
Like, wow. But it just made me think, like, how many more Gabbys are there? You know, girls who stay in those situations where, like, to this day, we still haven't seen any footage that really shows what kind of monster
either of them.
The boyfriend could have really been, and she could have also been like we don't know. Yeah. We really
sometimes
don't know.
It's a two-way street where it's like, people are stuck together and they literally like lose their fucking minds.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And it's like, I don't know. But
especially when you're young, like people like in their like teens and 20s and stuff, like they could be doing some stuff that's like abusive, like even like psychologically abusive, and just like not even like know that that's like
toxic
wrong or toxic, just because they're still like learning how to even be a fucking person. Not saying that like murder is like, I'm still learning to be a person.
No, I know you're
but like what led up to it? Like some girly pop murder. But
would never do that.
But it's like one thing leads to another, and like people don't really know like the effects of their actions and stuff, because like who knows, maybe the parent, I mean, if the parents like offed him so quick, his parents must be horrific fucking people.
And honestly that was my take too, because like, the parents didn't let them, like, not talking to your future daughter-in-law's parents when she's missing and she's 22 years old, like, that is diabolical.
And you're on
you're not going to tell me anything
and they're
else.
On the road by themselves.
Exactly. Like, be so fucking
for themselves in a van.
Like,
down by the river.
Like, be so for real. And then he comes home by himself and the van is parked at their place. And the way they found the van was also like wild too. But anyway, it's definitely worth a watch, I think. But it is frustrating to think that, like, had she been a black girl, this attention probably wouldn't have been what it, like, wouldn't have gotten this level of attention. Yeah. However, I do hope that young girls in any type of relationship see that, like, when people show you who they are, believe them. And
when they tell you who they are, you can't change them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't stay, like, I've been in 2 toxic relationships, and had I not been through the first one, I probably would not have escaped the second one. Yeah. And I use the word escaped very intentionally.
I would say I'm still in toxic situations, but the thing is, I don't get hurt anymore because I fucking listen to what they say. Bless you, darling. Yeah, I listen to what they say and I believe them, you know, so that if things go awry, I'm like, well, you did kind of tell me that you would do this 6 months ago, so you think I'm tight? Bitch. Well,
so you're managing your expectations.
Right.
Which is like good.
Which is half the battle, I think.
For sure.
Managing
and that's why, like, you have to know
of
who you're
future
dealing
toxicity.
with. For sure, you have to know who you're dealing with. Like even in the docuseries, there's some point where her ex-boyfriend shares his side, and he basically says that she reaches out saying, like, I think I have a plan. And it's like I was talking to Kara earlier about it, and I'm like, when you deal with certain type of people who on the outside seem very calm and cool and charming and whatever, sometimes they require a plan because they will not just they are not the type of people to let you just walk away. And so in that case, like, it's not that but when other girls or guys or whomever are the outside looking in and being like, why don't they just leave? It's not always as easy and simple as it sounds because you don't know what other people are capable of.
Just a word, you know, from the wise. It's like, okay, if your little boyfriend says that they can't live without you, trust me, they can.
Right. If they make comments, right? Like,
well,
that,
I've had
crazy comments.
I've had exes be like, if you walked away right now, I would kill myself.
Yeah.
I would die. And guess what? They're still alive.
No, and that's right. Those are manipulative.
They're all still alive.
Things, like.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I've never said that to anybody, and also, like, I would never say that to anybody because it's like, it's such a crazy,
such
fucking
a dark thing to say.
Not dark, yeah.
Like, disturbed, like.
If you died, I would die. Cause, you know, like.
But also, are you saying it in a way of like? Sometimes it sounds like you're going to be the reason for my death. Like, you're going to be the reason for my suicide. Like, that's how one of my relationships
like giving
was.
mad responsibility for no reason. Like,
I think if it's like silly or casual, like, oh my god, like, I love you so much, I'm gonna die.
I'm talking about the non-silly casual. The reason we get to silly casual is because that shit happened for real. Like, like shit like that isn't just silly casual for nothing, you know? I'm silly casual because I don't allow people, you know, in my life that would die like that.
Yo, we love you though.
I love everybody. I really do.
No, but I understand totally. Like,
I also hate everybody.
Honestly, that's like those are like words that like I fear. Like if someone says that, like I'm gonna do whatever you tell me. Honestly, so that doesn't happen because the last thing I want, and I've dealt with that in a situation with a friend who's no longer a friend, but there was a threat of, oh, she might hurt herself, so if you don't leave, bye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Catch, I'm out. You need me gone for a day? I'll be gone for 3 days. Period. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not fucking with that. No, thank you.
You know, I feel like that leads into like the next topic that I totally forgot to say that we're gonna do, but hater culture. Hater culture is having such a huge comeback. Haterism.
My sister came up with that word. Hell yeah.
Haterism. Shout out.
I would say.
Yeah. No, like.
You're just mad you're not there. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
No, but it's so real though. I mean, Kendrick Lamar won 5 Grammys off of a hate track. A diss track.
But and that's the thing. It's not even there's no hate in it. You know, it's all like facts. I think all that stuff.
That is facts.
It's just facts.
No, but I also think that like when they do like they have a song together and it's Poetic Justice. They have other songs where they like feature together, and I think it's a little bit of a show. Yeah. It's a little bit of a battle of like respect thing. Sure. But also, it started that way, and now it is a little bit more serious, but not. I don't think there's any hate in it. I think it's just Kendrick was like, yeah, you're not gonna fucking make me look like this.
No, but then we also got people like Bad Baby. She released 2 songs about Alabama Barker.
Yeah. I haven't listened to either.
It's
I
fucking
looked up
great.
The history behind that. I'm like, it's very one-sided.
Because she came back.
She came back, but
she hit on her baby daddy.
But then she was like, that never happens, blah, blah,
These
blah,
girls
blah.
must be
And then
fake
they're
girls.
Sack of shit. Liar, liar, liar. Pants on fire.
It was just a funny situation. I'm like,
kids are so disturbed.
Yeah.
Bad Baby, Bad
old
Baby
are
said that
they?
her mom had reached out to Dr. Phil since she was like 2 years old. Like I think she was on. I think it was on the Alex Cooper.
Just like to get on it.
Like had been reaching out since she was 2. I'm like, that is psychotic.
yeah, so
Like,
she
that
grew
is-
up with a mom that was like,
And then her mom
wanting to
took
be
like
out
most of
there.
her money and shit, you know. And then,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
and now
because
she has cancer or something.
yeah, she has cancer.
Which is like-
Cancer, a young kid, a trifling baby daddy.
Emphasis
on trifling. And I don't throw
Trifling.
that. I don't throw that word around lightly. Like
No
I
facts.
really don't. Like people on the internet resoundingly have used the word trifling to to
No, yes.
overall like
21.
yeah.
Diva, if you're
No,
watching
and
this, just
and she came out of retirement to release 2 singles dissing Alabama Barker. The second one, I haven't stopped listening to it since
you
she
like it?
released
Can you play it real quick?
It's so
Yeah, I want to hear. We gotta
Here,
hear.
my phone's recording, so someone else gotta play it.
Oh my god. I've been looking that up.
It's called Miss Whitman. Thank you, Don.
Oh.
Sorry.
You need Jesus, girl.
It's so
I don't know.
Shy
Champ,
Baby
Alabama.
has a baby daddy and kind of like her boyfriend, and then apparently Alabama was flirting with him and hooked up with him.
Yeah.
And then Bad Baby found out. She's like, oh my gosh, you're a tramp, because they were friends. And Alabama's like denying it. She's like, no, he like came on to me. I would never do that. Blah 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 blah. Nothing ever
No,
happened.
I know you're
I'm
right.
sure
No.
he came on to
on
her,
you.
but
Yeah.
like who
the
fucking
thing is-
cares?
And
also,
that's how it
why would
started.
you do that?
Now it's
Yeah,
just going
that's
back
fucked
and
up.
forth.
That's
Yeah.
fucked up. Okay, yeah. Well,
These
And then
black
Alabama
Christian
kept
ass.
saying like, oh, I'm gonna stop this beef. This is done right here. Then she comes out with a diss track.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay.
For the plot.
You're not you're not helping your case at that point.
Yeah, but it's also like okay. So it's kind of like girl code though.
Yeah.
So like if you're, it doesn't matter, baby daddy, boyfriend, whatever. If someone else's boyfriend that's your friend is coming on to you, you got to. It's girl code. You got to tell your girl.
Yeah.
Gotta nip it in the
You gotta
bud.
tell your
What
friend
do you, what do you
because
mean?
that shit
Each other.
happened to me. It put me in a
Yeah.
bad fucking situation.
Yeah,
I
you have
made
to
sure
definitely-
I made sure nothing happened because I
Right.
wasn't going to turn on my friend. Is that person my friend now? No, we hate each other, but I still don't regret fucking doing the right thing.
Period.
No. Yeah, no, I agree.
And I still talk to her ex-boyfriend to this day, but not like that. Okay, it's sketchy. It's weird. My life is weird.
And also,
I
if
don't
like
fuck.
your friend and someone broke up, they broke up for a reason. I don't need like if
Well, she
don't
was
wanna find
she was
that out
cheating
myself.
on his ass too. They were both cheating on each other.
Well-
They're both terrible. I don't fucking talk to either of them. Whatever.
bad example.
Terrible
Bad
example.
example.
Terrible example. But the example was, I was friends with her. When we were friends, I had enough respect to be like, your boy fucking, was trying real hard to get on me, and it wasn't, and I fucking didn't go for it because I respect our friendship.
Yeah, I think that's very respectable.
Yeah.
And the thing
There's
is that,
no
and
other
the,
option.
And the thing
Yeah,
is, like,
exactly.
I could have kept quiet about it and just not told her at all, but I did tell her.
Yeah.
Not to hurt her, but I was like, look, like, if you, like, they were already kind of 1 foot out the door anyway, but I was like, if you were even thinking about getting back with him, here's the fucking reason why you shouldn't, because he's, this is the way that he acts when you're not around, and I know you're not a perfect person. I literally have, like, blackmail of her cheating on her boyfriend actively on my phone. We were in college. Like...
I'm just saying. I ain't
got
saying
tired.
nothing. I ain't saying nothing.
The silence is violent.
Yeah, whatever.
But,
I'm
yes.
not a saint, but
You should not hook up with your friend's boyfriend, and if he tries it,
if he
should
tries
say
it,
something,
you gotta say it. You gotta say
100%.
something.
First of all, you're weird and gross. Don't touch me. And then you tell your friend.
I agree.
Right.
100%.
Right.
There's no.
What was the topic?
Haterism.
Haterism. Yeah.
And we're not hating unless you flirt with your friends.
No, and that's what it's giving hate. If you don't tell your friend, it's giving you were already hating on your friend
And we're
and their
back.
relationship.
Absolutely.
So you weren't actually even affecting your friend,
Absolutely.
bitch. The fake.
No, honestly, some of like the people that watch other people the closest are their haters.
No facts.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
You're obsessed.
I was accused of doing that.
You were
of, like,
accused
hooking
of
up,
being a hater.
of hooking up with someone's boyfriend.
Oh.
And it was their ex at the time, and it was honestly When I tell you it was so laughable, like I'm just like giving like the blanket of it, like it was so, like the lie was pulled from thin fucking air.
Good Lord. And
it just dragged, and it was just, now we're not friends, of course, but it's her fault, and she wanted to do that over a boy, and basically in it, I say that to say it was clear that she had a lot of hate towards me, because the way she reacted and all of it, when I was really just like, it was a lot of drama, but I stuck to the issues, right? I'm not going to bring up old bullshit. Like, if I hear X, Y, and Z, I'm going to tell you what you heard and address each point blank. Right. And depending on your response, which her response was, said it all. Yeah. And I was like, I'm just going to block. Like, I literally was like, oh, okay, cool. Bet, block. Like, did not even fucking faze me. And it was low-key, like, a relief almost, because it was just like the message was so nasty. Yeah. And she's really lucky that like I didn't share it with anyone, because out of like respect of, we still have a lot of mutuals and stuff like that. Sure. And also I still like respect her family and things, you know, like I have respect for what she does, her family, whatever. Oh yeah. But what she did was fucked up on a whole other level, and it just, to simplify it, it was like, okay, like you were actually just a hater, and we were friends since we were like 5. Jeez. And it happened when we were like, the falling out happened when I graduated from school. Yeah. But it was just like, it was over the stupidest thing, and it's a topic for another day. But it was just a bizarre fucking thing, and it was like, wow. And the thing is, like when I told some of our mutual friends from high school and things like that, like a good amount of them were like, she always hated on you. Dang. And I was like, and I'm just like,
nobody told you. Yeah, nobody told you that.
And the thing is, like, because our moms were like good friends, and people are definitely
well, but also like sometimes it's not like some people have like complaints about people, I think, behind their back, but like you never really realize the like, I guess, the level of hate until it like really reaches the surface.
People were like, "Yo, like she."
Because sometimes you have friends that like you know, they get annoyed about certain bits about you. I mean, look at like the Sex and the City girls. Like they all, you know, they all get annoyed at each other a little bit, but they all love each other. You know? Yeah. Like it'd be like that sometimes, like when you're just like longtime friends, and it's just
for sure.
You know,
and
sometimes
that's real, and that's like, but.
You know, but you accept each other, and like you don't hate each other, but like you know, everyone has like a thing about them that's like, you know, unsavory. Or
but this was like clearly like, okay, like no, like it was hate, and even when I reflected on previous things she had done in the past, it was like I just was the one to like play nice, you know. Like I also was, I hate confrontation. Like I'll do it if I have to.
I get you.
But like and in the past though, I would avoid confrontation if I could. Yeah. So like if it wasn't. I'd just be the one to apologize, regardless of if I did, regardless of if I was in the wrong, which normally I wasn't, I would be the apologizer.
I find that I only put in the effort to confront somebody that, like, and never in a mean way, more just to talk something out, like, if I care.
No, for sure. And confrontation doesn't have to be aggressive or like
never.
Doesn't necessarily have to mean conflict.
It could be very calm and stuff. Like some people, like, you can tell that they're trying really hard to be calm about something that they're really pissed about.
For sure.
You know, which is also not a good way to go at something. You know, when they're like, I need to talk to you. I'm not mad, but like, and it's like,
they're crashing out.
No, like you're literally crashing out in front of my face, and this is going to be a not comfortable confrontation, but I'm going to hear you out and be a bigger person. Yeah. But you know, like and you don't have to be all like condescending either. It's like, I guess it takes practice.
Listen, the amount of people that confronted me on her behalf was insane.
Yeah,
like that's insane. In person and via text. Like to a point where I did end up getting really nasty on text.
Like
one text that I like never, because it was from someone else, and a text that like I ended up apologizing to the person when I'd seen them next, and they apologized to me and stuff. But like because the situation had dragged out for so long, and it was like Like I was on my last fucking straw because I did nothing wrong and I wasn't like, I'm gonna try and prove myself. I was like, y'all are psycho. Yeah. You can think whatever the fuck you want. I'm busy living my life.
If you don't like me, you can kiss my ass.
I literally was like, get a life and leave me the fuck alone in mine. Like, but it was just like, gosh, the level of hate. And like, what are we, 5? Like, because so-and-so hate, like you have to all come, like, no, like let's be adults. And also the thing is, like, the girl had confronted me initially and I told her straight up to her face, like looked her dead in her face and was like, I would never do that. I was like, I would not do that. You're my friend first. Like, I also was already seeing someone. I was like, I'm going to visit them like tomorrow. Like, it was just like ridiculous.
But also, like, was she negging you? Like, were there any like signs of her?
Yes, no, and that's why when she did send the response text to me after the whole shit, like, that's why it was so easy for me to block her. I was like, she was like, you're a cool girl and all, but I'm like, hello, LOL. Like, I actually laughed out loud. I was like, cute, okay. But yeah, it's just like, why, I don't know, negging is like, I just recently looked up this term yesterday, or like not even, I looked it up. I already kind of knew about it, but I like kind of went into it yesterday a little bit. And it's really, you don't know what that is when you're in high school and even college unless you're really that emotionally mature. Yeah. You know, like you have to actually learn about these, like we're learning about, for me, I'm learning about these things through like TikTok and shit and people telling stories.
I find when people are younger and it happens like on either side, I don't think it's ever really as like, I think it's much more subconscious.
For sure.
But I think as we get older and
we know
adults,
what we're doing.
Like, negging is very intentional.
For sure.
And like, like anybody that negs me, even if they're like a friend of mine and stuff, like I shut it down and I just kind of like, neg it back a little bit. And I'm just like, that's like brain rot, right?
I need to Google this term. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did read it too, what negging is, but I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's basically just like, it's people giving you these like backhanded compliments to a point where you are
compliments
like,
or comments.
Or comments, to a point where the point is to basically like reduce your self-confidence and
it's like a power play.
And that is what they did. That is what a handful of like my friends growing up did, which is why I feel like it took me so long to like, I felt like the ugly duckling in school and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it always happens to the pretty girls. So like if you get negged a lot, just know you're gorgeous.
Okay, thanks.
Just know you're pretty and everybody else is ugly.
But yeah, it's like fucked up that people even do that shit. But to your point, it is definitely subconscious that it, like when you're younger, but the damage is, like if you're not aware of it, then the damage that can be done is really like.
Absolutely.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
Unless like, you do shadow work and all these other things and whatever. But
there's like discourse online about like all those like hot girls and the baddies and stuff. They don't talk to anybody because all they do is get negged when they leave their house because they're so gorgeous or whatever. Like
you just have to hang out with more baddies because the baddies don't act like that.
That's true.
And then I guess it's like right at this age you start to find the people who you realize that negging comes from their own insecurities, right? So it's similar to projecting when people like just make a comment that's like, why are you like, sometimes I want to be like, why are you talking?
No.
Why are you here?
Could you imagine being ugly like that? Like,
like sometimes I'm like, which is also why like, right, I blocked, the girl had done a lot of negging in the text and that's also why like I blocked her because the way that, the message that I could have replied with would have made her actually hate herself. So I was like, I'm going to just save her, because, and like I said, I am very matter of fact. I'm not throwing F-bombs and shit like that. I'm speaking very like, let me tell you what's really going on. But negging is just like, it's, because I feel like it tends to happen in front of other people, or it can often. So it becomes something that like, you don't necessarily want to become defensive or you don't necessarily like recognize it right away, right? Like you're in a setting of, for me, like I like nervous laugh. That's like, that's my go-to. I nervous laugh. I'm like, and then later that shit's sinking and processing and I'm like, And for any friends who have negged me in the past, and once I realized what the fuck that was, like, we're really not close.
Honestly,
at all.
People should be real scared of me right now because, like, my brain is on maximum capacity. I haven't smoked fucking weed in, like, months.
Fire.
And I drink mad fucking Celsius. Like, the more caffeinated I am, the faster my brain goes. Like, you should think twice before negging me because I will literally tear you to shreds. Bitch.
Or like, everyone beware.
She is a witch, so.
I don't know. Max it out. Looks maxing, energy maxing. What else can we max?
I need a nap.
Okay. No, you need to drink caffeine, mommy.
Hungover.
No, I want to go to bed.
Hungover?
No.
Hangover?
I feel better now that we're here.
Good.
The goldfish helped.
Good.
And the bacon.
Sweetheart.
Goldfish.
I keep forgetting you were, like, literally sick not even 24 hours ago.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What'd you drink? At least tell us.
I don't know. Okay, let's see. I got to the place, I got a cucumber Southside, which was like cucumber and then some kind of clear liquor. I don't know.
Amazing.
And then it was good. It was like a drink. And then I had a Stardust, but it was
I'll have to look it up.
It looks like a sunset.
I'm a bartender.
So I'll just bring you to the bar.
I
want you guys to come to the bar that I
Fuck
was
it,
at.
we're drinking the next episode. Next week we're drinking.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, we're drinking.
Cocktails.
No, we'll meet up when you pull up to my undisclosed
Of a
location.
cocktail episode.
Cocktail episode. Fuck it.
Slay.
My
slay,
girlfriend
slay,
makes
slay.
good drinks.
Oh my lord.
She would eat that up if she could make us drinks. She'd be like, it's this and that and this. And we'd be like, wow.
Oh my god, espresso martinis with Baileys, please.
Yes, fucking go.
I just feel like
What's our mantra, Jules?
Don't do it. Get a life. Go outside.
Nice.
touch grass. Goodbye.
I'm tired.
No,
Touch
I
grass.
just think the last thing I would say on it is just let's try to cultivate a community of people or like keep company with people who like uplift you and empower you
and,
and are like
celebrate
hyping you up and
Also-
commenting on your photos in public and not like like the people who are DMing versus commenting on the shit that you want people to comment on, and it's like it's really because they probably can't share how they don't want people to know how they talk about you, how they talk about you in private, right? They talk about you negatively.
Be kind,
so
be real.
That's to be seen on public.
Yeah.
So be kind.
If you don't like me,
real.
stay away from me. Like, why are you even that
You're gonna
close
follow
to me then?
me. You can do all that shit.
Like,
okay?
that's fine. Like, I like myself
don't waste
a
your
lot,
time.
So.
WAG culture. So
Let's get into it.
okay, so this one's kind of a juicy topic. Some of us know people in our personal lives that we are not going to say out loud, but we have some feelings. So the WAG lifestyle, for anybody that doesn't know, is stands for wives and girlfriends. And it's mostly referring to wives and girlfriends of people who are famous athletes, celebrities, just basically, an accessory to a famous person who has a lot of money.
Emphasis on accessory.
And like it looks all glamorous and things, and but apparently it's really not that glamorous of a lifestyle, and it's actually low-key kind of embarrassing and disrespectful, but I don't know, it's definitely a life for somebody.
Yeah, like I don't know if I want to say it's embarrassing because I guess it's like everyone's choice, right? Like you have like the trad wife trend and all these different things, and I guess if that's what you want to do, then do you, but I think it's definitely I find it pretty disappointing that we're in a day and age where women are aspiring to be that. Like why? Like there are so many other things that you can be. Why not?
I hate to say not all men, but it's like I feel like there's been like a lot of like a cultural shift a little bit of like just guys putting in less and less effort, and
No, for sure.
And the thing
it's
is
the
like
illusion of options.
the illusion of options, but also at the same time, like let me make it clear,
It's an
like
illusion.
like I'm not itching to get married. I don't need to get married. I don't need a fucking life partner or whatever. But like
I do. Anyway.
okay, but just know
I do want to get married. Thank you.
Well, just know that it's like, okay,
Next
if that should happen,
Italy.
like there are perks to being with me. I will do your laundry. I will cook for you. I will I'll do all of the traditional things. Like, do I look like a traditional person? No. But I very much would, be like, okay, like we can make the choice to be like, all right, I'll do some womanly things. Like, what do you want?
I feel like I do. Yeah, I'm someone who I do that. I can't help. My OCD doesn't allow me to not clean up after and I try to not make it a habit of cleaning up after someone. Mm-hmm. But if someone cooked, then sure, I'll take on the responsibility of. But it's also
it's not me being a trad wife either.
No, I'm not saying no, and that's my point. It's you can do those things without it being it does because you do those things because you might play into a gender role here and there. That doesn't make you a trad wife or whatever, right? I do believe in some gender roles. I do think there are some things that a man should get on the fucking roof.
But at the same time,
there's certain things that if a man's in the house, that's your fucking job, bro.
But at the same time, what is the trade-off? Honestly, the only trade-off for me is mostly been okay, you know how to do some plumbing, that's cool. I also know how to do some of that.
Interviewing, what do you bring? Corey's what do you bring to the table?
Because I have a whole bunch of just hard blue collar skills myself. I know how to fix things. I know
you got to bring something to the table.
I have a full toolkit. I really know how to do a lot of things myself. So it's what's left? You nice sex slave? If you're not in the mood for that all the time, then I don't know what business we got together.
No, and I feel there's a lot of things that I also feel I always joke that I'm Bob the Builder. I built a lot of shit myself. Women can be very independent too. Yeah, I just feel sometimes there are certain things where maybe it's just because I view my parents' relationship in a specific way too. Sure. There's certain things that I'm
But also, I feel it's very even out in the queer community. I don't know if it is the same for you.
Gay question?
But yeah, I was actually gonna. No, but I was gonna ask, and that's why I said if there's a man in the house, but if there's not, right, are you guys going to hire someone, or do you feel
I know you guys are because honestly, I know a lot of very handy trans people, trans femme and trans male, and trans masc. Lesbians are very handy. I know a lot of handy butches that they are fucking better than any guy that I could pull off the street to fix anything at all, really.
Yeah, no, I've seen girly girls change a tire before, there's no limit to what women can do, and we can do that shit in heels, by the way. So
I've also heard people kind of bring up the idea of having a commune, all female commune, we use the men to breed because we have to. That's how it works. and then we all have our own commune where we raise each other's children together without men.
I like this idea. Personally, I have lived with these 3 queer women for I think 2 years now. Mm-hmm. We take care of each other.
That's nice.
Shit gets hard, but one person can't do something or can't afford something, another person has that thing or has access to that skill. Nice. So it's been very wonderful, and it's been the perfect reset in my life to live with people who care about each other. And I'm not saying that only women care about each other, but for example, right?
We are the
women do take care of each other.
Yes, absolutely.
They take care of everyone
because no one needs to suffer. It's just not necessary.
Honestly,
right?
women taking care of people for the most part is compulsory. Anybody that I've met that's a female that is actively does not like to take care of other people are usually sociopathic for real. There's a limit. You don't have to take care of everyone to every capacity.
Because they're not if they're not an elder person, if right, if they don't need 24/7 care, it's different. But we want to be women take care of women for sure, because we also know what it's like to not be taking care of it. So we've do we all have siblings?
I have siblings.
I'm an only child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How does it feel?
Lonely. People, I feel can tell that I'm an only child, but they're oh, in a good way, in a good way.
What does that mean?
Okay, thanks.
I can't really tell. I couldn't tell really. Which good. It's
people are
there's no good or bad things. I'm just saying I couldn't tell.
It's when I was a kid, I feel like my parents are always like, you were so selfish as a kid. I'm like, well, duh. I'm the
only
child.
You
That's
didn't have
fine.
to feed anybody else.
But yeah, growing up, I feel like that went away. And then, as I said, like I lived in a house with like a bunch of girls, and that was the first time I shared a room. First time I like had other people who were my age that I was living with, and I loved it. And now I kind of love having roommates.
Yeah. So that's good.
I wouldn't want to live alone for like a while. I feel
it's hard to live alone. I think like even Julia was saying like she's like she lives alone, but her cat is very helpful, and I'm like I probably could not live alone without an animal.
But anyway, so going back on topic, like would we do anything for like luxury or like ease of lifestyle? Does maybe like not having like a traditional type of partner, like, is that even appealing? Like,
yes.
I mean, you'll be like very, comfortable, but you probably won't be emotionally fulfilled.
In what way?
Well,
because they're not really emotionally available. I feel like, right? Is that like you're kind of referring to like?
Are we talking about
like
boys?
WAGs? Like
WAGs?
We're back. Okay.
We had to circle back.
Yeah. No, I think like
topic.
the luxury is totally awesome and cool, but if your husband doesn't love you and isn't around you, or like
or partner in general, honestly, like I mean, I think it happens to queer people as well. It's just they don't talk about it as much, and there's a little more leeway in queer relationships. I feel like. To be different or whatever.
And if you start having kids, you have to raise that kid.
Oh yeah, and then you have to raise the kid,
by
and
yourself.
then you have to explain to that kid eventually, like, why isn't Daddy home? Well, Daddy's fucking other prettier women than me.
He's a rock star.
And buying them fancy dinners, but don't worry, we'll buy you a Birkin to make up for Daddy's absence. Yay!
Also, side note, I started watching Love Island, I think, last year when the US season 6 season came out. Love it. But then I started watching more Love Islands, the UK ones. Have you guys heard of Molly May and Tommy Fury?
I've heard of them.
They met on Love Island. Tommy Fury, he's like a boxer, I think. And he was like away all the time, but they first got together like 6-7 years ago, and they've been together since then. Wow. But it recently came out that he was cheating on her, and they had a baby on the way, and she was like just born. Yeah. That's like so prevalent right now, because I think she just came out with a documentary talking about all of that, and I just saw like an ad for it, and I was like, my heart goes out to her.
Anyone who's on reality shows like repeatedly in any way are especially like ones like Love Island, like they're probably like the worst, most insufferable people. And I say that as somebody who's like on a reality show, like, but I'm self-aware, like I'm very much a insufferable, mildly narcissistic individual, but I have goals and compassion and like things that are important to me that maybe balance out my worst desires, hopefully. But I don't know, I feel like I mean Love Island in general is just so fucking toxic. Like I really don't get it. It's hard for me.
Love is not blind.
Wait.
Just established love is not blind. Okay.
Have we seen Love on the Spectrum though?
Yes.
That is my favorite love show. It's so fucking awesome, and like all the people are just so sweet.
Yeah.
I still follow Abby. Is that her name?
Abby and
the one who loves like animals.
Lions.
She's so cute. Oh my god. And she likes to sing. Like shut up. Like that's the kind of love show I need to see.
But then there's also like the whole argument of like, is it exploiting people who have disabilities?
That show in particular, I don't think so. Because they provide like access to therapy, and also like the parents are very heavily like involved. It's all very consensual.
Sure, yeah.
I think that those reality fuck ass TV shows are way worse and so much more exploitative.
Yeah.
Like of course, like going on TV, you're sharing your entire life, and that's a choice that you have to be okay with making. Sure. But like they're all able to consent to that process, and they also are like treated like human beings by the production team and all that. They have access, and they're like, they're going on a little speed date. Oh, they're getting really nervous, so maybe we'll just give them an aside. It's not like you know, you have to fucking sit there and do this thing that's insane and not drink water.
It's been going on for a while too.
Crazy.
So I mean, they must have a pretty decent rep if people haven't.
Love on the Spectrum is a 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah.
And all like the people are like buddy with the interviewer, so they feel like
so they're very
it's really cool the way that they do it.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to do reality shows in an ethical sense and make it like actually entertaining. Like.
Except if you find the right people, like
right.
I feel like if you find the right people, then you don't have to stage shit and like.
Well, I mean, there is a level of like writing. I feel like should kind of happen in a way, like The Simple Life. Like there was a writer's room for like the antics and things that happened, and like some of the things that were said, like some of the jokes. Like they sat like Paris and Nicole were at a writer's table at Fox.
Oh well, yeah. Of course, for sure.
You know, but I think that made it good. I mean, there was still like some things like
sometimes
they hired
it's needed
vocal,
for
they
sure.
hired
Sometimes
vocals
it's needed
as extras. Like,
but I think so. But right, like all these people are like they're boring. I feel like I don't know. They have interesting lives, but like they need writers because there's not much substance to them, so they can't tell jokes. You know, like you won't need to write jokes for if you find the right family or the right restaurant or the right whatever hotel, whatever.
Well, it's also just like casting too. Like,
exactly.
Like I don't know.
Like if you find the right.
Some casting is hit or miss. You never know because honestly, like you can have some people that like talk a really great game, like you know in the audition process and everything, and then afterward they're like. Yeah, I actually like wasn't really feeling my experience on the show, and I don't really care that I was contracted $1 million to like promote any of this. I'm going to not, and fuck yourself and your show. That happens to people.
I believe it. No, I believe it.
But you know, it's up to what you know, like people say this about Drag Race. Like the real race of Drag Race is after the show ends. Because then, you know, you're figuring out like, okay, well, I have a little bit of a platform now. How far am I going to use that platform?
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But anyway, back to the lifestyles of the rich and the famous and
don't
their
really
girlfriends.
Care, unless you give me your money.
Yeah. No, and see, for me, like I've experienced, like I said, in one of these abusive relationships that I mentioned, like I was given everything and more. Like I was in a mansion. I was living from the outside looking in. It was like she's living like a fucking goddess.
Yeah.
I was living with a fucking psycho.
Holy shit.
And and once I realized how isolated I was and all these different things,
and
it made the experience a lot more scary. And once you realize the connections people have and, you know, the money and all, I was like, it got to a point of me saying, I'm like, this man could literally say, I will give you $10 million right now in cash to stay with me. Keep your fucking money. That's what I would say. That's genuinely how I feel. And and I can't say that I would say that had I not been in that situation.
Right.
Like, could I use $10 million fucking dollars? Could my whole family use $10 million? Hell fucking yeah. It was so not worth it. Because I honestly might have ended up like Gabby, truly. Wow. Like people are really, like people, and I see why people stay in it, and these men use money to their advantage like that. You know, they do the gift giving, the over gift giving, and all this shit, and then, and my person, it wasn't like they were like seeing other people or anything. I mean, I also don't know, but I was around them enough, but.
You worry about the love bombers.
But
honestly.
yeah, it was really more of a love bombing situation and a grooming situation. Like it was just weird, and it was so subtle how it all happened. Like I'm very self-aware. I'm very aware of other people. I'm very intuitive, and once my intuition did start to really like talk, when I saw the first few cues and red flags, that's when I was like, all right, let me start to think about how I'm gonna like. Exit this shit, because it got to a point of like, yeah, this is not going to be as easy, because he wasn't the person that he seemed to be, and he was exactly the the most extreme opposite. Like when I tell you, it was like an angel to a Hulk, quite literally. Like that was where it was like, okay, we have to be strategic. We have to be smart about this.
Scary.
Honestly, one of my deepest fears, I have two deep fears.
Sure.
one fear is the Holocaust happening again, which
God forbid.
Living through it right now
God
anyway. Next.
Great job.
Yeah, I know, it's super cute. And then my next biggest fear is being financially manipulated in like a desperate kind of way. You know, like where I have I don't have a choice. Yeah.
And that ended up being me, where it was like I couldn't
That's
really.
Huge fear of mine.
Like I was having work, like everything was going for myself, you know, like I was fine. And then slowly this person was able to get me to start to like rely on them a little bit. And they started to get upset when I was looking for a job. And that's when it was especially like, whoa, like that's, I've always worked, you know, like that's not happening. Yeah. And so, but at the point of I had to start sneaking around to even do that.
Also, you're a professional chick. Like you're a business. You're a businesswoman. You know,
exactly.
Like, that's part of you.
Which is
like
why
if you didn't want a businesswoman, then you can't date a businesswoman.
And I told him from the first date that like I wasn't going. I'm like, I will never be a trophy wife in the context of like just sitting there and look pretty. You know, like I'm not gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and
I'd probably love it for a week. Yeah. You know, I'd be like sitting there like Melania Trump, like.
Listen, for a minute, while the person was like the amazing person that they could be, it was amazing. You know, like it was true luxury. Like I was like, oh my God, I was like, what God is gifting me with everything I've ever asked for and more right now. Ugly. And then it was a question of like, what is luxury worth to you? Like it was like you can have luxury. Like God gave me like a look of the life, and I've lived it. And
but even some of the most successful WAGs, like at the very least, like their partner, like I would say like
brand or something.
Jeff Bezos' girl. I would say like he obviously still lets her out of the cage to go and have fun and talk to people and be her bad self. Yeah. Like. You know, but that's the only way that I think something like that could be successful in some way, shape, or form.
No, I was gonna say, and in that context, I feel like those women don't even get, like, they don't have to take the WAG title because it's like, you know, like, I'm his wife, I'm his lover, I'm his partner. Versus, right? Like,
and I'm my own actualized human being outside of that.
Right.
Like, I need to.
And we don't know fully how it is behind closed doors, but if he does let her, like, that. When you see women like that out by themselves, right, like we can assume that that's a good amount of freedom. You see Kanye West and his girl. Did they break up? You can only imagine what that's like behind closed doors, right? Like,
I kind of feel bad for her.
I feel terrible. I feel sick when I think about like what she's going through because without even having to see what she's going through.
Bianca Sensori is an intelligent lady. She comes from a very decently well-off family. She's an architect. By the way.
Yeah, she worked at Adidas and stuff too before, and like
architect, worked at Adidas, really worked for Yeezy, as well. You know, beautiful as anything, of course, and
she's sold her soul.
She's willingly letting herself get like exploited in this dangerously disrespectful.
Yeah. Coochie on the red carpet,
please. It's
not just coochie, designer coochie.
Which I respect.
Like, but. Yeah, that is crazy. But yeah, it's like, what are you willing to, right? I'm sure a lot of people looking in are like, she probably wants it. She probably asked for that. And maybe, but maybe also not. Like maybe the same way we saw the situation with Diddy and Cassie. Like Cassie's also a really smart girl and she had talent and stuff like that, you know? But when you're with women, when you're with a man with power and...
Diddy's a lot older and Bianca Sensori, like, does have a decent amount of equal, like she's not totally equal to Ye, but she's more equal, I would say, than someone like Cassie and Diddy.
I don't know. I honestly, I genuinely, I wouldn't know.
You don't think so?
Just because Yeezy, like Kanye is one, I feel like he's lost his mind. Absolutely, honestly, I mean, he's admitted he's bipolar. That's already a fucking mess. I feel like to deal with. Yeah. And then just the fact, like, he has young kids. Like he has, and all whom which are with the same mother. Like what message is he sending his kids? You know, North is at an age where she understands I'm sure she understands to some extent what's going on. Probably a little too fast.
Kim is, from what I understand, has been like very careful at trying to shield shield her from it, and I'm sure her friends at school give Northie hell.
Yeah,
and
about how embarrassing her dad is.
Yeah, they know what's up. I recently saw that like Mason apparently has a kid and like all this
allegedly,
shit,
allegedly, yeah,
like all this crazy shit. But nonetheless, it's just like
bad.
It's just not always what it seems. That's where
Nothing
I think
is.
right. Like it's always better. They say it's better to deal with a wolf than a fox.
Well,
because
some people are saying that Bianca is maybe playing chess. Like she married him without a without a prenup to like endure the worst of him so that she can have a no fault divorce and then get half of his shit.
No, and that's the thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like she might.
So that's what people think.
Like when I'm
was
saying she might be
game.
like it's not a contradicting thing that I'm saying. Like I'm just she really might be into it for herself. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like
goals
and that's
are
why
goals.
it's just hard to gauge those situations. But it is to your point. Like Cassie was technically working for Diddy. Technically working for Diddy because that was his record label, so he could have cut her at any time. Versus like Bianca, like it is to some of an extent, it's a lot more of her own free will.
Well, doesn't Cassie not come from like not that she's like poor or anything, but she doesn't come from like a family that has as much money as Bianca's family does. Like from what
I didn't even know Bianca came from money like that.
The tea with Bianca's family apparently is that they're like mob or some shit like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're like covertly like a crime family or whatever.
We are not shying away from the topics.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
I do the hot topics.
No, it's still on the topic apparently.
Yeah,
the hot topics.
It's probably a hot topic.
I didn't even know that. I'm gonna look into that. That very well could be true. Like,
no, that's why I find the whole thing fascinating.
People are all connected and like it's just
be careful.
All the documentaries and series and shows that we watch, if there's anything I learned from it, it's that what you see is not always what you get.
Be careful.
Like there's just no predicting a lot of what people do, and it's not to make people paranoid and to live in fear, but it's to say that like I don't know. I guess that's why I find it so important to develop an intuition, right? Like and to understand the difference between like fear and your intuition and knowing what's like okay, being paranoid. But
also watch your back. People gotta watch their back.
No, and that's what I mean.
They're like, oh, you're paranoid. You don't need to like be looking out for this shit.
And it's like no, like sometimes
like,
you need to be. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, for sure.
If you got any shred of power over anybody or perceived power, you need to watch your back or have somebody watching your back for you.
Yeah, and I think with the whole WAGs and stuff like that, it's like I would hope that these women they confide in some friend who has they have someone who, whether it's a therapist even or a parent or something like that, who's like checking in on them and making sure that they don't end up drugged or like we just don't know what people are fucking capable of.
I mean, look at OJ. Look at the stuff that came out with OJ.
Oh,
I haven't seen all the stuff. Honestly.
It's just a recap. Like all the OJ stuff.
Well, it was a recap, but like there was like diaries and stuff from Nicole and like Nicole confided in a bunch of people, and she still got her ass murdered. No one helped. No one could help. And then there's some people that are even thinking that maybe it wasn't even OJ; it was OJ covering up for his son.
Oh, fuck.
So there's a couple of different ideas.
I didn't hear about that one.
We need a topic we're going to look into that.
We're going to table that one. Table that one for the next one.
Yes, we need some research on that for sure. That's interesting.
Yeah, but all right. Do you have a much?
I don't even know what to say about that one. That one's crazy as hell.
Drama.
I mean, do what you want to do, I guess.
Live your life. Live your best life.
Be careful.
Do what you want to do.
Trust your intuition.
Take a shower.
All that.
BARBIE, Barbie girl.
Is this the end?
Yeah.
But, all right. That concludes the first episode of The Girls Room. Yay! I love you guys.
Yay, love you
Can't wait for next week.
Yay!
Bye.
Cheers.
Peace.